A brief executive session was held prior to discuss personnel items relating to collective bargaining agreements.
As well as general litigation update.
Session. On the work session, number 1, monthly report, request excused absence, additions to the substitute list of Lauren Deans and Eric Beal. 2, for board's information and directions to be given, appoint the following members to the Wyoming Valley West, to the West Side CTC Joint Operating Committee. Term to expire in 22 would be Janet Cassatt. Term to expire in 23 would be Tom Pazinski. Term to expire in 24 would be Rick Kamis. The alternate would be John Perfetto and Joseph Majer. Item number 2, 2022 PSBA Legislative Chairperson, alternate and regional representative. Pride and Promise contract, Brian DeBascus, alternate John Perfetto. PSBA liaison, William Hardwick. 3, Luzerne Intermediate Unit, 18, Davy Savage, with the term of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th of 2024. Appoint board member to the Plymouth Public Library, Joseph Majer. 5, appoint board member to the Hoyt Public Library, William Hardwick. Approve resolution required under Act 1, whereas Wyoming Valley West School District shall not raise any tax above the state authorized index for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. Number 7, approve the purchase of the 2022 Chevrolet Express 2500 cargo van under the CoStars program with the price of $30,750. Number 8, approve the repair of the boiler for Schuyler Avenue as presented. Number 9, approve the revised health and safety plan, section G. Efforts to provide vaccinations to school communities as presented. Item number 10, approve the refund of paid taxes for the year of 21 for the following property owners: Amanda Weisberg and Lisa Perry, homestead refund of $169. Does any board members have anything else they would like to add or comment on? Mrs. Cassatt?
I would like to look for approval for a 570 on the go annual camp clinic to use our field. They are asking if they're asking if they could use our field for a mission for the goal of 570 on the go that instills healthy, nutritional, mentally, and physical lifestyle in all of the area children from young adults ages kindergarten through 12th grade. They are respectfully requesting that Wyoming Valley West Board of Education and District approve the donation of the Spartan Stadium on the above dates, including a rain date on June 19th. No, I'm sorry, Saturday, June 18th, and the rain date of Sunday, June 19th. They take responsibility of liability insurance, volunteers, coaches, and all aspects, which will all of whom must provide copies of a valid PA child clearance. They take responsibility for food served, security, cleaning, and health and safety of all the participants and spectators. Any outside agency will be represented in the form of informational tables and handouts, and they will include the following: Wyoming Valley Alcohol and Drug Services, Children's Service Center, Geisinger Health, Suicide Prevention, Dr. Elizabeth Joseph, and many other organizations which would benefit their cause. They are respectfully asking us if we would allow them to use our field and stadium on those dates.
Does any members have a comment on that?
So are you going to be asking to amend the agenda to put that on as a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, yes.
So you're going to ask the board to amend the agenda to add a motion to approve the request of 570 to use the Spartan field on June 18th, 2022, and the rain date of June 19th, 2022.
Correct.
Okay.
So, Attorney Anderson, we'll vote to amend the agenda. And then we will, if that is passed, we will also vote to allow 570, correct?
So what you would do is, during the regular session, if the board wants to amend the agenda, you would put a motion, or you put it out there to see if anyone wanted to make that motion. If someone made that motion and it was seconded, then you do a vote on the approval to amend the agenda to add this motion. And then the motion would go on, and it'd have to be voted on and approved the same as any other motion.
Thank you. Any other board member comments? Mr. Guevara, if you would mind approaching us on number 8 for the boiler repair for Schuyler Avenue and any other building updates you would have.
Well, the boiler repair that we're looking at Schuyler is a repair of one of 2 boilers that we have in the building. At this point right now, we have just a single boiler operating the heat of the building with no redundancy. We're looking at actually repairing 3 of 10 sections of that boiler that are actually leaking right now. Then we'll do a hydro test on the boiler, make sure there's no other leaks in it. And the cost of that is about $27,000. If we were to look at replacing the whole boiler, we're over $60,000. So this is just a cost savings way to look about repairing it.
Excellent. Anything else, Mr. Guevara?
Just if you want an update on some of the projects we have, just the board has approved a $2.3 million performance contract. We are right now ordering materials. We have started some of the work. We're in the process of getting some trailers, equipment trailers and job trailers at the high school, which would be probably the least efficient energy building we have with lighting. But every building is touched by something on that performance contract. But everybody just needs to know that this project is a paid by energy savings project, no cost to the district. Over 15 years, this project will be paid by the energy savings, but no cost to the taxpayers.
Anything else?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Guevara. All right. moving on. Any other board member comments? We'll just finish with that. All right, moving on to our regular state monthly meeting. Wednesday, January 12th, 2022, middle school. I'd like to call to order and roll call.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Here.
Mr. Damascus,
Here,
Mr. Hardwick,
Here.
Mr. Camus,
Here.
Mr. Keating. Mr. Keating,
Paul, looks like you're muted.
Do we have a spare phone line?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here.
thank you. Mr. Majer? Here. Mr. Perfetto,
Here.
Mr. Pazinski?
Here.
Mr. Savage.
Yeah, we'll continue. Okay, just for the audience, we have Mr. Keating on Zoom. We have Mr. Savage on phone. We have Mr. Majer on phone. And I believe Brian Damascus is. He's on Zoom. Brian Damascus is on Zoom as well. Let's stand for a moment of silence and a salute of our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Approve the minutes of the reorganization meeting from December 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Did she come up to the microphone?
Excuse me, could you please come up so we can hear you? We'll let you do it.
I
Thank you.
didn't know how to object to the,
That's fine, you're doing great.
okay, the minutes to be approved, but I was trying to find today normally on the website, there's like a superintendent summary for each meeting. Well, under December, it's listed as November, so December's isn't there. So I wasn't able to check that the December meeting minutes mentioned anything about the voting on the mask mandate. And at last December's meeting, I had asked if following the Supreme Court's decision, that would be an emergency meeting or a vote. And I know we didn't have one, but it was mentioned at the meeting. So there's no way for me to check that. So I don't think we can approve minutes when I can't check them.
Okay. So typically the minutes won't get put on until they're approved by us. That's what we're doing here this evening.
Oh, well then how does the public see the minutes?
So once they're approved, they will be published.
It's just the superintendent's summary though, not the minutes.
So that would be up to Mr. Tosh. Mr. Tosh, you want to handle that?
I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to.
Well, at the December meeting, I asked if there would be a vote because you didn't want to vote at that meeting on the masking order.
Right.
So I said, well, will it be after the Supreme Court ruling? And it was said that it would be. And here we are, we haven't had that meeting yet.
I believe if the Supreme Court ruling changed, we were going to have an emergency meeting, wasn't?
But
That my
you know what, I
understanding?
think you might be referring to. We had discussed that, and I think what happened was, when the change happened, if my days are right, I think it was 8 days before Christmas. We didn't want to, 8 days before Christmas, say, let's give a parental choice or let's make a decision. Let's get to Christmas and then let's get to this meeting. And that's why if you look at the agenda tonight, the health and safety plan is on there. So that would be something that the board would be able to vote on.
Okay, I just wanted to I was thinking that I'd get a chance to see on the minutes that it was on there, and that's why I was objecting to so in the future though, how can you approve, I mean, how does the public get to see what is being approved? Or does the community not get to see the minutes
So the agenda is posted.
prior to approval?
Prior to approval, we have to approve the minutes before they're posted.
So only you guys get to see the minutes before they're,
Once we have to approve them
okay,
to make our clarifications.
There may be
Corrections and clarifications on it. And once we make those, then we will approve them here this evening, and then
okay.
they will be posted.
But then if I would see something on a minute that I don't have, like the recollection, could I object the following meeting then, you mean?
No, because it's the board's minutes that we are approving.
Okay,
Maybe for clarification, if you want to raise an issue that you think is incorrect,
Mhm.
after you look at them during your public comment period, you could raise that to the board's attention if you feel that's appropriate.
okay,
But that's after the fact. The
I got you.
approval is for the board to approve their own meeting minutes to say this is what they believe occurred.
I gotcha. That makes sense now. Thank you.
Thank you. So we had a motion by Tom Pazinski and a second by Joe Majer. Did you do the roll call on that yet?
No.
Roll call?
Mrs. Cassatt?
Yes.
Mr. Damascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Kamis?
I would have to, Robert's rules, I'd have to vote last.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Majer?
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto?
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Savage? Yes. And Mr. Kamis?
Yes.
So prior to getting into the student representative.
Well, I would do approve the minutes for the regular December meeting for December 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Tom, second by
Second.
Mr. Bill Hardwick. Roll call. We did the first one. We did the reorganization meeting. Yes. Sorry. Gwen.
Okay. Mrs. Cassatt?
Yes.
Mr. Damascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Majer? Yes. Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Savage? Yes. And Mr. Kamis?
Yes. Student Representative Ben Bowen and Jacob Nabrocki.
The high school administration is proud to announce the senior Spartan Spotlight recipients for the months of November and December. The following seniors were selected by their teachers for exemplifying honorable qualities beyond that of the typical student. Those selected demonstrate strong academic, athletic, and personal skills that show off what we strive for as Spartans. In addition to receiving a certificate, recipients will have their bios and accomplishments posted on the high school website and sent to the newspapers for recognition. The following are the esteemed Spartan Spotlight selections. For November, Rio Bantel, Joshua Coble, Gwendolyn Langley, and Hannah Steele. For December, Kira Adamski, Ava Carey, Jordan Malatorres, and Anna Scholl. On behalf of the high school administration and the entire Wyoming Valley West community, congratulations on this impressive accomplishment. Also, congratulations to junior Daniel Stavish. Daniel placed first out of 4,797 participants in the Pennsylvania State Fall Stock Market competition. Over the course of roughly 2 months, Daniel turned 100,000 fictional dollars into just over 3.5 million. Junior Aiden Connell also cracked the top 10 in this competition. A special thank you to Mr. Cunningham for acting as the advisor for these two students and helping them to accomplish this super impressive feat. Recently, senior Lady Spartan basketball standout Trinity Johnson signed a commitment to play at the University of Rochester next year. Best of luck to Trinity as she pursues her goals on and off the court. Lastly, on behalf of our high school principal, Mr. Schultes, and the high school administration, we would like to wish all students, faculty, staff, the school board, and community members a prosperous and healthy new year. Best of luck in 2022.
Tryouts for the spring musical, The Addams Family, took place on Monday. The second marking period ends on Friday, January 21st. And Act 80 Day, early dismissal, will take place on January 21st. Winter Keystone exams took place on January 5th, 11th, and 12th. And school will be closed on Monday, January 17th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Thank you both, gentlemen. Mr. Tosh?
Thank you, Mr. Kamis. The after-school tutoring program is now up and running in the district. Thank you again to Pediatrics Associates at Kingston for another vaccine clinic this past Saturday at Third Ave Elementary School. Pediatrics at Kingston's been a tremendous partner in fighting this terrible virus and getting shots in the arm, so we thank them. Just to reiterate what some of the students just said, Monday the 17th, Martin Luther King Day, no classes will be held. And Friday, the 21st of January, we have an Act 80 Day, and that's the end of the first semester or the halfway point of the school year. The middle school welcomes Mr. Sean Walker to implement a mental health program called Take an Honest Look, to look at students and work on self-esteem. That program will take place later this month in conjunction with the PBIS, or Positive Behavior Intervention Support Team, which reviewed and revised the focus for the second semester implementation. And I can tell you personally, from knowing Mr. Walker's family and knowing him in the past, he's going to come in and do a phenomenal job working with the students here in the middle school. He does a terrific job, very inspirational speaker, and I think that'll be a real positive thing here for the middle schools. The students at State Street Elementary School are creating mini posters celebrating their behavioral and academic progress for the first semester. Their accomplishment posters will be transformed into a collage and that will be displayed at the school. We're very proud of their hard work during these trying times. Thank you, Mr. Camus.
Thank you, Mr. Tosh. Before we allow interested citizens, I'd like to ask for a motion to amend the agenda for a motion to approve the request of 570 On the Go to use the Spartan Field on June 18th, 2022, with the rain date of June 19th, 2022, for annual competition camping clinic. Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tom, second by Paul.
So just for clarity purposes, this is a motion to amend the agenda. Do a roll call vote.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Majer? Yes. Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski,
Yes.
Mr. Savage? Yes. Mr. Camus?
Yes. Statements from interested citizens and citizens, anybody?
Good evening, Wyoming Valley West board members, administrators, and fellow parents. My name is James Baldwin. I'm from West Wyoming, and I have a child in the school district. Just to get started here, I just want to say we all appreciate the police response at the doors this evening. Just want to say on Monday, January 10th of 2022, I sent a list of questions that I'm hoping I can get a couple answers from the school board at some point on. We're 2 years into this pandemic with lots of knowledge about COVID-19 now and how it affects the elderly, the overweight, and those with pre-existing conditions most severely. Why is it that this district is still only promoting masks and vaccines and not encouraging its students and staff to be healthy as a way to prevent severe illness? We also know that cheap over-the-counter supplements like vitamin D and zinc play a vital role in our immune systems and tend to be lacking in many American diets. Why aren't parents encouraged to supplement their children if they aren't getting adequate levels of these essential vitamins and nutrients? There are cheap amino acids supplements that are available over the counter for many years called NAC, which may be a potential treatment for COVID-19 as it appears to slow viral replication, lower mucus accumulation, and lower likelihood of cytokine storm. Its clinical trial data is so promising that the FDA is encouraging companies to stop selling this supplement because it would be considered a drug if it's a treatment against COVID-19. Why not suggest everyone keep this on hand as a potential treatment in case people get sick? Right now, this district, the mainstream news, and most politicians are promoting masks and vaccines. Wouldn't more options to stay safe against COVID be better than less? Due to concerns over safety and efficacy, the state of Florida has passed laws making it illegal to require students to wear masks in schools. Does Wyoming Valley West share in those concerns? What specific data and medical recommendations is this school board following that shows that masking school children with cloth masks are safe and effective? On December 20th of 2021, CNN medical correspondent Dr. Leanna Wen recommended surgical masks at Times Square for New Year's Eve and described cloth masks as, quote, little more than facial decorations. There's no place for them in light of Omicron, end quote. Why are parents in this district forced to put on compliance decorations on their kids' faces since they're only harboring germs, hindering learning, and offering only decoration to our kids? It's my understanding that Wyoming Valley West has received the number of N95 masks. I'm curious, as some other parents are, as to whether these are going to be offered to staff or students. If students are offered these respirator masks, will parents be given informed consent, as there are a number of health warnings for N95 mask use? I don't know if you guys know this, but do you believe that N95 masks are safe for the use of children? I have a box of N95 masks from 3M, and they state on the box that children should not use these respirators, among many other warnings. If cloth masks are merely facial decorations and the masks that actually protect against disease pose health and safety risk, why is Wyoming Valley West School District mandating masks for students and not allowing parents to make this health and safety decision? There are a number of states, including Florida, that do not have mask mandates in schools and are able to keep their schools open even during the Omicron variant. How can our district be more like the state of Florida in its commitment to keeping kids physically in school and voluntarily masking the children? Up to the parents. I also want to ask the question, are you aware that Crestwood School District has allowed parents to make the decision to mask or unmask their kids at school? So those are my questions for the board. I would appreciate some response, hopefully at a public meeting, maybe the next meeting. I also asked the question of when is this board going to put the decision of masking their children back in the hands of the parents where it should be. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me pull it down so I can speak.
Certainly.
Hi, I'm Jackie Degnan from Courtdale. I actually just have a few questions regarding transportation. Sorry. Why are there two separate bus companies for Valley West?
So I can briefly answer that. I mean, I'm not that well versed on it. Wyoming Valley West Transport does not have enough busing to accommodate our whole things, and what's the other contract? Myers, I'm sorry, Myers does not, they only have limited amount of buses. So collectively, between the two of them, we have enough, we make enough buses work.
Okay, and then my other question is, why aren't there any cameras on the buses?
That was something that was not negotiated in the contract by this board.
Okay, so I want to fill the board in on a really brief story. Sorry, Mr. Tosh, but that occurred on Thursday. My 5-year-old was picked up by the bus driver. He's not alone. There's a lapse in time before they proceed to go to 3rd Ave. The bus driver proceeded to stop, pick items up off of the side of the road that somebody was getting rid of, put items on top of the bus seats. My son's still alone on the bus. She then went off of the route, went to her home, unloaded these items. In this whole span, there were 2 strangers on the bus. The guy that helped her load the one item on, and then at her house, her sister helped her unload them. I'm telling you this story because besides the obvious things that are wrong with this situation, picking up items off the side of the road, 2 strangers on the bus, large box on top of the seats that could have slid, went off the bus route, went to her house, left the child alone on the bus unattended, which is illegal. PA Title 75, Section 3701, left the child alone with the bus running, which I'm sure is also illegal, but I don't know what that code is. What if somebody came on the bus while he was left alone, right? What if he left the bus while he was left alone? He could have stepped off and walked down the street. What if he tried to drive the bus? Thank God he just stayed in his seat and didn't do anything. And I'm actually standing here because of how the situation was handled by the bus company is what my issue is. Owner, manager, Bob, who lied to me about his name, because I know the Myers Bus Company doesn't have a Bob, was extremely dismissive of my complaint. He was extremely rude to me. He didn't want to hear the whole situation. He told me he would talk to her. He told me he would deal with the situation. He called me back. He said that he spoke to her and she apologized and that the situation, like, that was it. She took responsibility. I was supposed to be okay with putting my kid back on the bus. I'm not okay with that.
I agree.
So the point I'm trying to make is that because of decisions such as hiring the bus company that you as a board make, it impacts the overall appearance of the district. It looks bad for Valley West that situations like this happen, and here I am standing here talking about it. There was an issue with the bus company over the summer. As you know, I attend the board meetings. The board didn't want to hear bids from other companies. It was quickly voted on. Perhaps instead of hiring people that we know and actually investigating and interviewing and maybe doing some research, Mr. Tosh wouldn't have to constantly be doing customer service and smoothing out these problems. So tomorrow will be 1 week since the incident occurred. I told the company, the director of transportation, Mr. Tosh, my kids will not be on the bus with that driver. And as of today, the driver is still driving the same route, by the way, and the situation is still not resolved. I've been dropping my kids off and picking them up, had to change my work schedule, my husband's work schedule to resolve this situation that hasn't been resolved.
Mrs. Degman, on behalf of Valley West, I deeply apologize to your family.
And I appreciate that.
I deeply apologize. That's very, very upsetting. That should never have happened. As I sit here today, I can promise you that there will be a full investigation into this matter.
Thank
And
you.
You will have a resolve by the end of this week.
Thank you. And I do want to let you know that Mr. Tosh reached out and he did apologize and knows the situation. So, I mean, he did, but it's still, I find it appalling that the bus company wasn't more apologetic.
Absolutely.
Given the situation. So
And
Absolutely.
Jackie,
I appreciate it.
can I add that when you did send the initial email to me,
Mhm.
I immediately went through the chain of command to Kim Alfano, our transportation coordinator, and I told her, as I told you, I've got a real concern with that.
Yep.
Look into it. Now, I know she looked into it, and I don't know, like you said, if they resolved it internally or not, but I want to make sure that the board understands that from our standpoint, we take that obviously very serious.
Right.
And what you're saying is very concerning to all of us. Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Carosa from 44. Before I get started, what I was going to talk about for my 3 minutes, I just wanted to first see, after what happened, denying entry to anyone not wearing a mask, I just wanted to know if there's anybody on the board that's brave enough to make a motion to remove the mask mandate tonight.
I am not.
Okay. Well, I'm asking the board to table voting on yet another revision to the health and safety plan because to date, no public comment has been considered in any revision since at least August of 2021. And the PA Department of Education website clearly states, and our health and safety plan itself states, the very last line on page 1, that the health and safety plan should be tailored to the unique needs of each LEA and its schools, and it must take into account public comment related to the development of and subsequent revisions to the health and safety plan. How have you taken public comment into account with any of the revisions of the health and safety plan? Okay, also on the Pennsylvania Department of Education website, I found that Wyoming Valley West will be receiving $14,955,068 in ARP ESSER funds. It's right on the Pennsylvania Department of Education website. And so I found on further investigation this ARP ESSER guidebook. And in the guidebook, there is an entire section devoted to consultation with stakeholders. And it states That updating the health and safety plan allows LEAs to incorporate lessons learned over the past year and develop plans for the safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services within the LEA. As noted above, the public must have the opportunity to provide input in the development of the LEA's health and safety plan. Furthermore, as on the Department of Education website, as recipients of ARP ESSER funding, school districts are required by statute to engage in meaningful consultation with stakeholders. The LEAs are specifically required to engage with stakeholders, and the stakeholders they're included, but are not limited to students, families, school and district administrators, teachers, principals, school leaders, school staff, and their unions. All of these must be allowed to comment on anything having to do with the health and safety plan, as well as how the ESSER funds are going to be spent. I realize that at least according to the Pennsylvania Department of Education website, some schools have been receiving ESSER funds on a monthly basis as early as August of 2021. I don't know about Wyoming Valley West, but I know that it's a monthly fund. But we are supposed to, the district is supposed to provide to the public where we can find how this ESSER money is going to be allocated. How have you engaged stakeholders with the health and safety plan and how the ESSER funds are going to be spent?
I firmly believe we engage with the public every month, the stakeholders, as you say, and we have not discussed the ESSER funding yet. We still have no plan with it yet to this date.
You have no what?
We still do not have a plan with that money yet. We still have not formed the committee yet.
But the community, I don't even think the community knows how much we received. It's not, I think it's on the Pennsylvania Department of Education website, but it's not on the district website.
I strongly disagree. It's been announced at board meetings multiple times, the amounts.
Amy, that was published in the paper when it was awarded. We still have time with it yet. There are a number of plans, I think, that are potential, but the board hasn't made a decision at this point on what direction they're going with the 14 point. When that time comes, when the committees and we start moving forward, anything that we're required to do will be, if it's stakeholders and members of the public, will certainly fulfill that.
But how has the stakeholders and the community been allowed to input with revisions to the health and safety plan?
Ma'am, you're doing it right now. You're making public comment as to what you feel is appropriate for the plan.
I am, but I'm saying it's not available on the district website for people to see what's being, the health and safety plan wasn't even, the revised one wasn't even available to the public until I made note of it last month. I'm just saying the Department of Education is making it a requirement that the public be able to see all of the health and safety plan and the revisions and make a comment. So I'm just asking to not vote on the health and safety plan until the more comment and engagement from the public. How are the students? Have the teachers been able to have any comments on the health and safety plan? What about the students? There's been no surveys. I asked for a survey last meeting and no one wanted to do a survey to the public of what we wanted.
That is correct.
But then that's not a diverse stakeholder. It sounds like the only stakeholders are all of you sitting up there.
We just sat here and listened to your comment, Ms. Gross. So, I mean, no, we take all that into consideration. Mr. Dickman is very efficient and effective in his job.
Okay, well, what legal authority does the school have to mandate masks?
So I can't answer that.
The school has the ability to put in place the plan that they have. The mask mandate that was put out by the state was a requirement. Now that that's lifted, the school district still has the right to implement that. As you've seen by the regulations put out or guidance put out by CDC and PA Health, the district has the right to formulate their plan and implement it. There's no requirement that they not have masks, and there's no requirement to mandate masks, but it's their choice. The board on how they vote to proceed.
Okay, well, I still think that you should ask the community what they want. And poll the community.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak this evening?
Do we have light?
No, absolutely.
No. Where are your minutes posted for the parents to easily access them?
Ma'am, will you state your name, please?
Desiree Edwards.
If I may, they are posted after they are approved on the website, on our,
Pardon?
once they are approved, they are posted on our website, on our district.
So you post the minutes of every meeting on your website,
After they are approved.
but they're supposed to also be posted in the school for easy accessible for parents and students. According to Robert's rules, your minutes every month should be posted, hard copy, in the school. In the hallway, somewhere where the parents and the students can access them.
The agenda is definitely posted in the lobby.
Oh, it is? Where? Because I would like to go see it.
The agenda should be on the table.
Oh, the agenda.
Yes.
But where is the minutes from previous meetings?
So November's minutes are on our district page. We are approving December's this evening.
But they are supposed to be also posted in the school.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't believe that to be accurate.
I'm
Mr.
not
Anderson?
aware, I'm not aware of that requirement. You're saying that it's required per Robert's rule?
Yes, it's a requirement. And I would think if you were all on the board, someone would know that.
So Mr. Anderson, if you could please look into that and report to us on that, we'll do. Ma'am, I'm not aware of that, and I apologize if we are making a mistake, and we will definitely look into it.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
No problem.
Hi, my
Hi.
name is Melissa. I have a couple questions. We have a problem with substitute teachers. We don't have substitute teachers, but we pay our substitute teachers $10.50. Do you know how much McDonald's is hiring for?
Melissa, can I address that real quick? If
Sure.
you don't mind. Substitute teachers there is such a critical shortage everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I go to a superintendent's meeting once a month, and the one common denominator is lack of substitutes. There was a picture, and I won't say what school it was. There's a local school that probably puts out 50 to 60 education majors a semester. And when they conclude all the requirements of student teaching, there's a nice picture that they always put in the paper. And that same school probably had, I think, 3 or 4 kids. Kids just aren't going into education right now, and we're starting to see the effect of it. I will tell you, one of the things that I had in the superintendent's meeting I was at, one of the school district raised their substitute rate to $120 a day. I asked the superintendent, what kind of effect have you seen? And he looked at me and said, we haven't found any effect whatsoever because they're just not out there. It's a tremendous frustration on our part, on our teachers' part. I'm sure you as a parent, it's a dilemma that right now there's no answer.
Well, you're not going to get them to come for $10.50 when a 15-year-old, 16-year-old could go to McDonald's and make $16 an hour.
We pay 80.
I know some
just hang on.
substitute teachers
Hang on.
that are working local stores because they don't want to work for
Right,
$10.50.
Right, well, we pay $85 for the first 30 days, 95 from 30 to 60, and 105 after that. You're-
$85
you're-
a day?
Yes, you're talking
That's still
probably.
to like $10 an hour.
Right. My point is, the district that I referred to is paying 120 and they haven't seen a difference.
But
The
you haven't
problem
even
is-
tried it though.
but-
Why
but-
don't you bump it up to $16 an hour and match your local Wyoming McDonald's?
Well,
And then they don't have to go to local stores and work. And our children won't be sitting in classrooms coloring instead of learning.
listen, I echo from the standpoint of your frustration. And you could take any teacher in this district, how frustrated they are, because I've said before, years ago, you probably had about, when I was in this building, you probably had about 40 to 50 subs a day. Our sub list, just as a sub list in the area, there's just, kids aren't going into education like they used to.
These aren't
You-
kids
you
though.
could-
I
you-
know
you
some
could-
substitute teachers
You could.
that are working stores because they're paying more than a school district. Okay, and I wanted to fix Amy's thing. Amy said that we received $14 million, or we will receive $14 million. We are going to receive $23,923,416. So we could afford to up those substitute teachers. We could afford to buy new books. See this book here? This is my daughter's English book, right here.
That was one of the reasons we went to Chromebooks to try. and-
Chromebooks, we don't use the Chromebooks though. We don't use the Chromebooks. So you went to Chromebooks because you had no choice though, because they went a whole year without education.
Well, we're trying to do the best we can with it.
Also, the
it's a
FID
terrible
school
time.
thing, the 5 days, kids also deserve snow days, but the FID, it's just posting the subjects on Google Classroom. I have to come home from working 12 hours a day and teach my 5th grader because there's no instructions on there besides do page 1, 2, there's just a whole long list of things for us to accomplish. We're not being paid to be teachers. If you want to implement these 1 to 5 days of FID, then you better be teaching them those days, or else you give them off the whole day for a snow day. These teachers, I don't care. Google Classroom is a joke when they're at home. Us parents are the ones teaching them all this. You guys aren't there. You just post the subjects at 12:30 in the morning and then they're done for the day. And us parents have to go in there and make sure all of their homework is done, all their testing is done. You want to implement the FID days. Well, there also needs to be Google Classroom for every, like a Zoom meeting for every class. The kids are falling behind, like really falling behind. My daughter doesn't have substitute teachers. She's going to another class and just coloring all day and stuff. Half these kids can't even count money, can't tell time, don't write cursive. You guys are failing. $23 million. We need to take that money and put it towards something and get these kids some real education. Give these substitute teachers $16 an hour, like their local McDonald's is hiring them at, and they'll come here and work. Also, the middle school. I'm scared to send my daughter to the middle school next year because the fights are ridiculous. My other daughter is in 11th grade and I never had a problem with the middle school. If you can hire people to staff these hallways, then you pay the parents. There's parents that will staff these hallways for $16 an hour and make sure our kids are safe. Kids are being stabbed, kids are being choked out, beaten on buses, beaten in hallways. We have several TikTok videos going out. They're going above stalls and taking pictures of kids. Wyoming Valley West is becoming a joke. So take the $24 million and do something right with it. Because we are going to make sure that that money goes where it's supposed to go. 2022, we're holding your feet to the fire.
Anyone else? Thank you. Moving on. General recommended action items. May I have a motion?
So moved.
By Tom. Second.
Before you do that, Rick, is the motion that was made to amend the agenda, is that part of the general recommended actions, or is that an added item there?
The general recommended.
So in the general recommended action, it's number 11 is the motion to approve request of 570 on the go to use Spartan Field on June 18th and 22nd. 2022 with a rain date of June 19th, 2022 for an annual camp/clinic.
All right, my apologies, we'll start over. So we'd like to add number 11 in.
That's what the motion from Janet was to amend, and that's what was approved. So a motion to approve request of 570 on the go to use Spartan Field on June 18th, 2022 with a rain date of June 19th, 2022 for annual camp/clinic will be item 11 in the general recommended action.
Joe, can I have a second, please?
Second.
By Paul, on a roll call?
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
yes,
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Majer. Yes. Mr. Profetto,
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski.
Yes.
Mr. Savage,
Dave, you there?
Mr. Savage. And Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Staff recommended items. Motion,
So moved. Seconded.
pardon me?
The other general recommendation.
Oh, see, that's the iPad. So we'll do the staff recommended items. On the motion,
So moved.
second by Joe. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
yes,
Mr. Hardwick, Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Majer. Mr. Profetto,
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski.
Yes.
Mr. Savage. Yes. Mr. Kamis.
Yes.
Yeah, so the first vote was on all of the general recommended action.
Yes.
It was just being clear that number 11 was added to the amendment to the, so you have number 11 to add.
Finance recommended action.
So moved.
Second
Yes.
by Janet. Roll call.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
yes,
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Majer. Mr. Profetto,
Yes.
Mr. Pazinski.
Yes.
Mr. Savage. Yes. And Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Board member comments? Anyone?
I'd just like to bring everybody up to date on the ESSERS grants. ESSERS 1, I filed the final report. The total grant was $1,512,701. Okay, the ESSERS 1 final report has been filed. The total for the grant was $1,512,701. I'm sorry, $1,512,701. We have the cash we have received so far is $1,194,237.60. Over January, February, and March, we were receiving the rest of that, which is $318,463.40. With the way the money was spent on ESSERS 1, based on the budget that was submitted, salary and benefits, $1,178,910.22. Resources for tutoring for students who fell behind due to the shutdown was $8,100. KG Smart Spot 250 mobile hotspots for low-income students, $75,564. Remind application district license, $14,400. Teachers training for reopening in a safe manner, $2,800. Items such as face masks, face shields, disinfectants, hand soap, sanitizers, gloves, spray bottles, filters, sneeze guards, and other such items, $147,967.22. Air circulation fans, filters for air handlers, foggers, $58,250. Chromebooks, $6,413.82. Non-public schools cleaning, and this was payment for the people at the non-public schools to clean their schools, $11,000. And non-public school supplies such as, again, as face masks, face shields, disinfectants, hand soaps, for $9,295.75, which totaled $1,512,701 for ESSERS 1. ESSERS 2, we have received so far, and this is as of December 31st, $1,585,196.82. The rest of that money, totaling approximately $6 million, will be received monthly through September 2023. The items that were spent on ESSERS 2 were salary and benefits, $144,406.10. Online science curriculum, $211,510. Chromebooks for grades 2 and 3, $204,192. Chromebooks for grades 2 and 3 iPads, $2,940. Hardware parts, $547.30. OtterBox iPads, $457.10. Chromebooks, $720,302.40. Speakers, software stations, and Chromebooks, again, $36,236.14. Chromebook parts, $949.50. Subscription licenses, $7,990. Middle school repairs, $163,560.20, which was a total expenditures as of December of $1,493,090.74. And our total grant was $7,393,577. And again, we have not received anything, any expenses or any income for what you're talking about, like the ESSERS 3.
Thank you, Mr. Cardone.
I can give you one. If you want to leave me your name or something, I can make a copy of this when I go to work tomorrow. And yeah. Yeah.
So we'll bring that up at our next month's meeting as we start going forward.
Yeah. Well,
Again, we will bring that up at our next month's board meeting as we start going forward. Once we form our committees, we start figuring out how we're going to effectively spend.
There has to be a budget to prepare to do that. That I'm not sure.
So the next scheduled meeting will be, work session will be on February 9th, 2022 at 7 PM. The regular February meeting is following the work session. Yes. You were never called a liar at this table. No, no, ma'am, you were not. That's fine. Okay.
Yes, but it's broken, but it's broken up into 3 sections. It's not.
Lou, stop. Lou, stop. Ma'am, the public comment period has ended. If you would like, ma'am, instead of yelling from your seat, if you'd like to ask to come up and speak, you could do that. And the board chair could acknowledge you to come up and speak. Otherwise, yelling up to the board is not appropriate, okay?
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, please.